The People's Democratic Party is making another move to resolve its internal conflict to be able to field candidates for next year's election. The party's Board of Trustees has resolved to initiate an immediate reconciliation process among key players to put an end to the current crisis within the party. The position was made known in a communique presented by Chairman of the Board, Adolphus Wabara, at the end of an expanded emergency meeting. The BoT also constituted a special committee to engage legal teams and key party actors in order to resolve the disputes and restore stability within the party ahead of the 2027 general election.
The BoT disagrees with the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which pronounced an invalidation of the November 15th to 16th, 2025 National Convention that produced the Kabiru Tanimu Turaki-led National Working Committee of our party. The BoT is awaiting the advice of our lawyers on the way forward in this regard. The BoT is disturbed by the avoidable internal leadership disputes and wranglings leading to damaging litigations with consequential detrimental effect on the unity and smooth running of the PDP as the major opposition party in the country.
Let's talk to Factional National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Ini Ememobong, for more on the news at 10. Mr. Ememobong, thanks for joining us on the news tonight. Your communique says that a special committee has now been constituted to interface with the legal teams and any other stakeholders to foster reconciliation within the party. How is this reconciliatory effort showing any potential difference from failed efforts in the past?
Thank you very much. The first thing is that there's time for everything. There's time for peace, there's time for war. Life runs in those cycles. And at this time, the reality of the INEC guidelines, the timetable, the fact that there are people who are running for election makes it pertinent that, yes, you may think you're right, but at this moment, it is expedient to explore means that will take on board the aspirations of people. How is this different? This is different particularly because the Court of Appeal in Ibadan had given an advisory last week. And today, when the matter came up, the council on both ends agreed that reconciliation was a consideration, and the court adjourned sine die and gave an order asking that whenever parties are ready for with their reconciliatory terms, they can bring it, and that will go into court. So this is now an admonition of the court. This is now a court-backed process. This is now a process that has time as an integral and critical factor that is pushing parties. And this is when, the people, for example, the chairman of the state chapters, the people who desire to contest election are saying, look, can we look inwards and find ways? Which goes to reiterate what we had always been saying, that the courts cannot solve political problems. Political problems must find political solutions. And therefore, the people who went to court in the first instance ought not to have done so. But that belongs to the past. So now the disposition is conciliatory. The disposition is that, okay, can we sit and talk about the issues that have made both parties to be at daggers drawn? That is where we are today.
All right.
And that is where we are hoping that we transport ourselves from this position of issues to the point where we can have issue management, to the point where we can synthesize the issues, and we can begin to have results that will now be documented as the basis of the reconciliation.
You have been an active participant, seeing all of this play out in recent years. How feasible is it for leaders and stakeholders in your party to indeed jettison personal and group interests as being anticipated by the Board of Trustees?
The reality is that if people do not jettison personal and group interest, what will happen will be a mutually assured destruction. Because where we are with the position of the law now, if people interpret the court judgment of the Court of Appeal dispassionately, they will know that we have found ourselves in a challenging position. The beautiful part is that it's not a cul-de-sac. It has an alley that people can meander through and get on back to the highway. It's like missing your road using a map, and you suddenly discover that going forward, you may not find a road, but you find a small alley. And that alley, is, as we speak now, is the Court of Appeal in Ibadan, which has given us a clear alley that can get us back very quickly to the expressway. Parties on both ends. Recently, I just got off the phone with a friend on the other side, George Turner, and he gave assurances that, look, we all want peace because people on that side want to contest, people on this side want to contest. At the timetable of INEC isn't going to be looking bending for anybody as it is now, except it is challenged. So the issue is that the issues that have kept parties apart will be discussed, synthesized, and will now begin to bring out the principles upon which the negotiations would be based on. And that negotiated agreement would now become. But one key principle that has stood out that everyone must agree, ab initio, is that the PDP, this reconciliation is not a reconciliation of the graveyard. It's not a reconciliation that is a highway to the grave. It's a reconciliation that must strengthen the party, a reconciliation that must give people an opportunity to run for elections, a reconciliation that strengthens PDP as an opposition party, not as an appendage of the APC.
I guess we're going to see precisely how that plays out, because the other side already announced a date for its national convention. I'm hearing that it's also picked a date for its presidential primary. But just for clarity, in this same document, the BoT says it disagrees with the appeal court judgment and added that it is awaiting the advice of lawyers on the way forward. Is an appeal at the Supreme Court still a feasible option for the party? Or what exactly is this document saying?
An appeal at the Supreme Court, the instructions for that have already been issued on Monday, immediately after the court case, if you recall. The statement which I issued immediately after the judgment, we had given clear instructions to our lawyers to approach the courts. And my lords had promised that the certified true copy of the judgment will be made available Tuesday. As they had said, our lawyers got in touch, and at close of work yesterday, they received the judgment and our instructions had been carried out. But you see, there is a concept of equifinality, meaning that there are many routes to a particular destination. Whether the court processes are ongoing, whether the notice of appeal has been filed and the accompanying applications, immediately reconciliation is reached. I mean, it's clear, those things can be withdrawn. But there is the legal path to this, there is the social path to this, there is the religious path to this, and the BoT as a body doesn't accept. I mean, a judgment can be a judgment, but you say, look, I don't accept it, but well, I abide by it, but I do not accept it. So if it's a judgment where you have a higher court where you can go to, you can say, I don't accept it, I go up.
All right.
But while going up, there is the political angle. Remember that even the resource control, we couldn't get the resource control through the legal angle, but we got it through the political angle. So there are times when the law, which is why we are saying that the courts cannot give political solutions. The court knows the law, and sometimes the law doesn't understand political nuances. So if we have issues, and you, my brother, it is best, and it is politically, it's best we find political solutions to it than find legal solutions to it, because the law and politics sometimes, like a retired judge of the Supreme Court had said, that far be it that the law should understand politics, because the rules of politics and the rule of law are different. While one may take, I mean, politics as we could take a zigzag to arrive at its location. Right. The law must be straight and firm. So, I mean, when you bring them together, they may seldom meet. When they meet, when the waters of politics enters the stream of the judiciary, you have the corruption of the judiciary and the erosion of public trust in it, which is why, as much as possible, we should extricate the waters of politics from the stream of the judiciary, because Mr. That everyone drinks from.
We have completely run out of time. I guess time will tell where this political path leads the PDP ahead of 2027, whether or not your group will join in the national convention scheduled for the end of this month, and the presidential primary that has also been announced for May. Thank you so much for talking to us, Factional National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Ini Ememabo.
No, I'm the Publicity Secretary of the National Working Committee. Thank you very much.
Good to have you on the news tonight.